Kurz etwas zum Buch selbst, also von Tecumseh Sparrow, T.S. Spivet, haben Sie schon gehört. Der Knabe ist knappe 12 Jahre alt und lebt auf einer Ranch in Montana, und aus diesem ersten Teil, der auf der Ranch spielt, werden Sie jetzt auch gleich den Großteil der Lesung hören. Er ist begeisterter Kartograf, wie man sich jetzt schon denken kann, und er zeichnet aber wirklich zu allem und jedem Diagramme, also nicht nur zu irgendwelchen Landmassen oder zu Tieren, sondern er zeichnet die Stimmung, in der Menschen sind, die ihm begegnen, weil er anhand der Gesichtsausdrucksweisen erkennen kann, ist jetzt jemand sehr wütend oder nur ein bisschen deprimiert. Er zeichnet die Verteilung von McDonalds-Restaurants, er zeichnet, in welcher Stimmung sein Vater Whisky trinkt, er zeichnet die Stimmungsschwankungen seiner Schwester Gracie, und er zeichnet auch das Verhalten seiner Mutter, die nicht Mom genannt wird, sondern Dr. Claire. Die Mutter ist also eine frustrierte Wissenschaftlerin, der Vater ein Rancher, und dann gibt es noch die Schwester, und dann gab es eben auch einen älteren Bruder namens Leighton, in dem es um den es, Verzeihung, in diesem Buch ganz zentral geht. Denn Leighton ist vor kurzem umgekommen bei einem Unfall mit einem Gewehr, und T.S. hatte damit zwar etwas zu tun, aber er ist nicht schuld, aber wir alle wissen, dass wir manchmal an Dingen, an denen wir vielleicht nicht direkt schuld sind, uns trotzdem beteiligt fühlen, und das setzt ihm sehr zu. Es erreicht ihn ein Anruf aus dem Smithsonian Institute in Washington, dass er den renommierten Bergpreis gewonnen hat für die Vermittlung, die populäre Vermittlung von wissenschaftlichen Zusammenhängen, weil nämlich sein Mentor dort seine ganzen Zeichnungen eingeschickt hat. Die Leute in Washington wissen selbstredend nicht, dass es sich um einen 12-Jährigen handelt. Und er geht ans Telefon und klärt sie darüber auch nicht auf, sondern beschließt, dass er nach Washington muss, um diesen Preis anzunehmen. Und von dieser Reise, die er dann mit einem Güterzug antritt, quer durch Amerika von Montana nach Washington, erzählt das Buch, es erzählt davon, wie es zu dieser Reise kommt, was passiert, als T.S. in Washington ankommt. Aber ich will Ihnen nicht zu viel verraten, Sie sollten das Buch lesen.
I checked my watch, 5:25 a.m. I had about 20 minutes before the train came through the valley. 20 minutes. I'd drawn a few maps showing the time it would take for me to walk around the world at the 49th parallel, and so had measured the length of my pace and the speed of my normal walk. My pace was about 2.5 feet, give or take a few inches, depending on my mood and desire to get where I was going. I took on average 92 to 98 paces per minute, covering about 241 feet. So, in 20 minutes, I would usually cover about 4,280 feet, not quite a mile. From my spot on the driveway, the train was about a mile away, and I was pulling this godforsaken wagon. Oh, he's dragging his luggage behind one of those old red wagons. Picture that. It didn't take a genius to realize I had to run for it. The last stars dimmed and twinkled their way out of the sky. Even as I chugged down the driveway, the front lip of the red flyer constantly clipping the back of my heels, I tried to turn my attention to my next quandary: how to get that freight train to stop for me. I didn't know that much about hoboing, but I did know that one never got on a moving train because no matter how slow it was going, if you slipped and fell beneath the wheels, the train did not give you much consideration. As a child, I had been fascinated with Peg-Leg Sam, a hobo-turned-musician who had joined an Appalachian traveling medicine show, working a harmonica with those long knuckled fingers of his, singing strange, mumbly love songs about greasy greens and his missing leg, which he had lost riding the rails. I did not want to be Peg-Leg Spivet. The solution to avoiding a foot race with the Iron Horse came to me just as I crested the hill and arrived at the railroad grade where Crazy Swede Creek Road crossed the tracks. We did not have one of those red and white dinghy gates that come down to block traffic. Our road was much too infrequently used to justify such an apparatus. But what we did have was a signal light for the train. It consisted of two powerful searchlights, one on top of the other, with little brims over their tops to protect them from the rain and snow. Currently, the lights showed all clear, a white light on top of a red light. If I could only figure out how to switch the top light from white to red, the signal would then shine double red, which meant absolute stop on this Union Pacific line. I looked the post up and down, half expecting to find some kind of computer box with the big buttons labeled white, green, red, but there was none. Just a cold metal post and that cursed great wide lamp on top, standing unblinkingly at attention. As I stared at it, the light spoke slowly and carefully. "Don't mess with me, T.S. I am a white light, and I'm going to stay white. Some things in this life cannot be changed." This may be true, but I also had an idea, an amazingly simple and potentially ludicrous idea. Luckily, for my work in cartography, I had found that often the best solution was actually the simplest and most ludicrous solution. In any event, there was no time for laborious debate. I now had only 4 minutes to enact my solution before the train rolled through. My idea, however, necessitated opening my suitcase, and after all that I had been through, this was a bit like revisiting the scene of a crime. I tried to mentally unpack the thing, mapping out where I had put each item. Underwear in the corner, wrapped around Thomas the magnifying headpiece, box with namesake sparrow skeleton above this, and then to the right, I heaved the suitcase over on its other side, the contents rattling within. The rattling did not stop when the suitcase was still again. It was a fearsome thing, this suitcase, like a prehistoric animal with a terrible case of indigestion. Going through my packing job one more time in my head, counting off the organs of this creature, I took out my Leatherman, Cartographer's Edition, from my belt, and, using the medium-sized blade, made a small incision in the top right corner of the suitcase. The leather cut easily, scoring open just how I imagined real skin would part. I almost expected the suitcase to bleed on me as I operated. I reached inside the tiny hole with 2 fingers, searching around for a second before I found what I was looking for, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the right, and then pulled out a brand spanking new red Sharpie pen that I had bought just last week. Placing the marker between my teeth as if it were a buck knife, I mustered my best tree climbing pose and quickly shimmied up the post. The metal was cold and my fingers were instantly freezing, but I kept my concentration on the task at hand, and suddenly I was at the top of the signaling post, staring into the blinding glare of the great white lamp. I held onto the pole with one hand and uncorked the cap of the pen with my teeth in an orangutangian show of skill that would have impressed even Leighton. At first, the pen's ink did not seem to catch on the dimpled curvature of the top lamp, but after several tense moments of furious blank scrawl across its surface, the spongy ink tip finally caught, and the ink began to flow. And boy, did it flow.